Good afternoon and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center and Comfort Keepers in Home Care. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Thomas Policki.
On your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our first guest is the official runner or operator of the Santa Clarita Valley Senior Center, Kevin O'Donnell. How you doing,
Good.
Kevin?
Nice to be with you both.
Good,
Kevin,
good.
it's good to have you back. It's been a minute, so can you bring us up to speed on what's been going on? You know, I was concerned about what I heard, I guess it's a month ago? Yeah.
A month and a half ago?
Yeah, and I just want to know what's going on over there.
Sure. So no, we had some definite threats to our funding sources for our meals.
Yeah.
And we heard that the last week of June, and we put a big cry out there saying what we were allocated for this year was not going to be enough.
Right.
And we went to the state and the county and the federal government and asked for some support, and we did got a little bit of a leash to keep going with continuing our service as they are, and they're going to try to find the money throughout this fiscal year.
Awesome.
Definitely a little bit tighter, but we were able to reverse within one weekend about our meals program because it was going to be cut severely.
Yeah.
And now it has continued as it was. The only thing we changed was we had the drive-through service, as you know, through our parking lot. And we had to eliminate the drive-through service, but you can still park your car and pick up a to-go meal if you want to. But mostly we encourage people to come in and have a meal together. That's the whole purpose of the law and the whole purpose of eating together. And that's one of the reasons we built Bella Vita.
Right.
And we can serve up to 450 people in that ballroom during a 2.5-hour lunch period.
And it's usually packed, yes?
Yes, it's usually packed. We're getting up there again, and
That's
we're
an
thrilled.
understatement.
And our word is that if you've been registered with us, come on in. And if you're new to us, come in and get registered and come and have a meal. If you qualify, which you have to just be 60 years of age, you can just come in that day.
That's awesome.
And we'll
What
take care
about
of
the Meals on Wheels program?
Meals on Wheels is going strong. They're again, we're worried about their funding in the future, and we're going to be pushing the county and the federal government to help, really the federal government for support. As of February, we sort of run out, but we're looking for additional funding coming in. But we're safe for right now, and we're still accepting people for Meals on Wheels. There are some openings, so if we know anybody that's truly homebound that needs a meal and can qualify for that program, our drivers are ready to bring them those meals.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Congratulations
That's
on
terrific,
that. I know that was scary. It was disturbing for me to hear
Sure.
that, you know, this was even possible, much less it actually happened.
But you know what really helped us out was just the pure community support and people making their voices be heard that these meals are important to our community.
Yeah.
And getting the word out because it was a legitimate threat to our future of our services.
Yeah.
So
Well-
we continue to be diligent with it, but we thank those that are out there that are making the phone calls and making sure funding continues.
Well,
Nice.
we have a large number of seniors out here. I mean, this is, in my opinion, is known as a senior community, the city of Santa Clarita, because we do have so many seniors living out here. And of course, we have Friendly Valley, which I
Right.
live across the street from, and that place is enormous, absolutely enormous.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
Yeah, they estimate the senior population to be about 13% of the general population,
Yeah.
and that's the easiest way to figure it out, and growing, because more people are going to be 65 next year than ever before.
Right.
So it's continue to grow, and we can try to continue to meet the demand, because the demand is out there.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. And the senior community has needs. They really do.
And the more we make sure our legislators are aware of those needs from the city, who's extremely supportive, and the county, who's been fantastic, to the state and the federal government as well, we need to let her know, our elected leaders, how important it is for senior services to continue. And we have a great hub of services at Bella Vita for this whole community, so we're grateful for that.
Awesome. Okay,
Now,
so let's
what-
shift gears into some of those services that you're talking about. I
Sure.
mean, at Bella Vita, yeah.
Yeah, one of the services we don't talk about too much is our support services. And you're going to say, what is a support service? We have a team of social workers, and we call them care managers. It's kind of a nicer name, care manager. And they work under Suzanne Nelson, who's been with us for 36 years. And they do a tremendous job out in the community, meeting the needs, going to families that are in crisis. We go right into their homes and meet with them. Some of our staff are helping people with bathing and other type of things that they need, and they're also hitting one crisis at a time. I have an example of one because one lady had called us, and we call these mission moments, and she was lacking some air conditioning and things like that. So our staff got in gear, and it was a family in crisis. We pulled together some resources, and this young actually, this man wrote, "I'm just writing to express my deepest gratitude for your incredible support during this difficult time. The new generator and battery you provided have quite literally saved my life. The extreme heat and lack of power had made my situation dire, and your help brought immense relief and security. Christine, one of our care managers, you have always been a miracle worker, and your generosity and dedication amaze me. Jackie, your visits, especially with the delivery of these critical items, were incredibly moving. I was overwhelmed with gratitude and relief."
Wow.
And that's straight from a senior.
That's wonderful.
That's pretty amazing.
It
So,
really is. And the
Go
other
ahead.
thing is, too, I get calls every day from the senior center. Rita will call, and then there's another young woman who calls, and, just to check to see how I'm doing, and it's so nice. It really is to have a call like that.
And that's part of the meals program. So if you receive a meal, if you receive a Meals on Wheels, you also get those courtesy calls, which is almost like a health and wellness call.
Yes.
Saying, we know you're home, likely alone, and we're going to make a call to make sure you're okay. And that's part of, so it's, we always say it's more than just a lunch.
yeah.
You get a care manager with that, you get checkups in that, and just a whole lot more.
So I've got some questions. I know nothing is free, but is there a charge to the person for those services that you're talking about?
No, there's no charge, and it's interesting the way you put that, is everything for free. Well, nothing's for free in this world.
Right.
But if you're 60 and older in this country, with the Older Americans Act, which is a great law passed in the 70s, especially for nutrition, you can get a meal. Now, we ask for a suggested donation, but we don't require it, we don't track it, and if you don't, we frankly, we don't worry about that part of it. The senior center, on the other point, has to make up 12% of all those meals. We have to find the funding for 12% of all those meals. So while the federal government chips in, the senior center through donations and support has to make that match. So it's not 100% government funded, nor do I believe it should be, but it's in the 80 percentile, and that's what we have to work on. So we don't want to put that pressure on the homebound senior to find financial means they probably may not have.
Right.
So that's why we say, no, you can get a meal from us. But on the back end, to realize, no, the senior center has to raise money just to make sure you get that meal every day.
And is there anything going on the calendar that helps you do that?
Sure, we have our annual letters that go out. We have on our website, that Donate Now button is on the first page of the website, and that really helps us out. And we do, our annual appeal letter will come out at Thanksgiving this year, and that's 6 weeks of asking the community for support. And they usually do a good job of supporting us.
I got
Now,
you.
what about fundraisers?
Now we have our celebrity waiter, and that'll be happening in April again this year. So we're looking forward to that and getting sponsors ready for that event.
And I've always suggested that you have another fundraiser.
We're working on that. We have some support with the Rotary is doing a chili cook-off this year, and other organizations are helping out. If I was to spend most of my life doing individual fundraising events, it would take up way too much time for what we need to run the organization. So we're looking for other organizations to chip in, and foundations as well. So
Yeah.
And like I said, Santa Cruz Valley Rotary Club has jumped in on that.
Can I ask when the Rotary thing is?
It'll be in February this year. They're still ironing out the date.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you don't have any community support other than the Donate Now on your website until November. Am I missing something?
No, well, you're right, but there's different events going on. We have a boutique coming up in September, and people can come in for that boutique, and that helps us out, and that'll be September 6th in our courtyard.
Perfect.
And our Needle Crafters is raising money for that. Some people support us with the concerts, and they'll make additional donations at our concert series that are going on. And if you walk in our lobby, there's a lot going on there. So, yeah, throughout the year. We don't want to we're not an organization that has our hands out all the time.
Right.
Because you probably get emails twice a month. We don't do that. But when we do have our big ones, people come through. And so we're looking for November and the spring for people to come in. And probably we'll do an open house as well to share what we have there with the community.
Okay, great.
Well, Bella Vita is beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful building.
Yeah, and it's a great way to beat the heat.
Oh,
You know, you don't
are
have to
kidding.
crank up your own air conditioning to try to get through the day.
No, and you say that, and we see our people coming in from the parking lots every day, and we just say, 25 more feet,
Yeah.
and you'll have air conditioning and a meal.
Right.
And they're just, especially with the classic heat of Santa Clarita in the summers here.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's the air conditioner's working great, and to have that meal, and really just a reprieve. Some people just come in and just want to sit in the lounge to get a break from the heat, and that's why we're open Monday through Friday for people that come in.
Nice.
So if they do not have air conditioning, you don't have to get a meal. You can just sit with us and see what other activities are going on.
I'd like to make a suggestion, if I may. You know that $5 box
Mm-hmm.
that's right at the edge? That needs to be pulled out so people can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuck in a corner.
Right.
And there's so many people there, you barely even see it. But if it was out in the middle,
Right.
right there, people would see it. I think you would probably get more donations in there.
Well, we'll move the box.
Well, it's just a suggestion
Right.
because it's stuck in the middle, and I lean over and put my $5 bill in every Tuesday, and not very many people do.
Well, I don't know. I think we get a lot of support. I really do. I think people believe in us. I think they believe in what we're trying to do. I think we're very transparent. I think they invested us when we built the building in 2019, and we go back to our donors then and say, was it a good investment for you? And they're like, yeah, it was a good investment. You used the money wisely. You made a beautiful building, and all the services have continued.
Well,
So,
the other thing too is the tip jars are not on the tables in the cafeteria area.
Yeah, we're not allowed to accept tips. That's not part of
Really?
the federal program for nutrition. Yeah. No, our goal is to get them the meals. No, we're not allowed to accept tips, and we have to be careful about soliciting funds. We have to make sure they get a meal without anyone feeling that they have to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And that's okay.
they used to have you used to have the tip jars.
No more, no more.
That's unbelievable.
They can make a donation, and we
That
talk
is
about it all the time.
That goes along with my suggestion of
Yeah.
pulling that box out so that people, can walk around it
Right.
instead of walk right past
Yeah,
it in the corner.
Yeah, and we understand that, but realize my goal is to serve and feed the people and not always have to hand out for money. So
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of wealthy seniors who live in this community and who go to
and
the
they've been very
senior
supportive
center.
because I sign the donation letters every day. So I'm very, very
Okay.
fortunate.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's on the calendar, what's going on, what's important right now.
Underestimated is our concert series. We sell out these concerts every single month. Almost 400 people coming in. We have and we do tribute bands. Everly Brothers are coming in this Saturday. We got 400
Nice.
people coming in. We're going to pack the place and rock the Everly Brothers. We got a Roy Orbison tribute band coming in September. We're bringing back the John Denver tribute band, the best guy in the country doing the John Denver stuff, and we're having that as a special fundraiser. Then we're going to have our salmon meal coming out, and we're going to charge some money and have a good salmon meal. Listen to John Denver for an hour and a half, nothing better.
Nice.
Now
And
you
you and your
did-
wife will be there.
Yeah.
Didn't you have that a couple of years
Yes,
ago?
we had it last year, and we're bringing
Last
it back.
year,
It was a
that's
great success.
That's
Linda
right, I
Ronstadt's coming in November, and then we finish off with a Beach Boys Christmas in December. So that's rocking out. We're going to the Hollywood Bowl. Thank you, Catherine Barger, for giving us tickets to the Hollywood Bowl. So
Wow.
we're taking some seniors in September to have Beethoven Under the Stars.
Oh,
That's
my
sweet.
nice.
goodness.
That's
Yeah,
very nice.
So that's we're getting that. We got the boutique flying. Classes are up to 30 different classes. We're changing the arts class, which is taking off. Line dancing is back on their regular schedule, and it's everything from the bingo is back every single month to bingo to ping pong to the weights room. We're just busy, and then we also rent out Bella Vita, and a lot of people don't know. We're fully booked for the whole month of October, and
Wow.
making more and more rentals.
For like weddings and
We
bar
for
mitzvahs
weddings, for
and-
funerals,
yeah.
for fundraising events. We have different charities coming in to hold their different events in October.
Mm.
So we're excited to open that up. Rotary's using us. They have their meetings every single week, and they pay for a rental. So Santa Fe
Right
Valley
on.
Rotary has lunch every Wednesday. They're meeting as we're speaking now. And then they're doing a project on Thursday to feed veterans. And they're packing thousands and thousands of meals for veterans at Bella Vita on Thursday night. For them. So really that cooperation. So our word to the community is if anybody wants a place to rent, the beautiful ballroom, we had wedding vows were exchanged for when they turned 50th anniversary this past
Nice.
weekend, and it got too hot, and they were supposed to be in one place, and we moved them into the ballroom, and they were thrilled. In the courtyard, and we
the
have permanent
courtyard is
lights,
beautiful.
permanent lights in the courtyard. So it's really a nice way for us to raise a little bit of money, and for the community to enjoy, a full parking lot that's totally open for events.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful area. It really is.
So
That senior center
yeah,
is
and that,
just
again, another
gorgeous.
way to raise money at the same time, saying use our facility. It's there,
Yeah.
and we're not there on weekends, so it's a great opportunity to do that.
And they have a
That
great
really
they have a
is.
great library there also.
So let me ask this: is there? So I know you have bands come in. Do they bring everything? They bring their setup, like they bring the stage, they bring the lighting, they bring their
I have the stage, I have the lighting. They bring their sound because people are very protective of their sound.
Yeah.
So when they come in, they bring their instruments and their sound. Although I have a sound system. So no, we set up the stage for them, and we take care of them. They come in and bring their instruments and set up their good sound system, and they sing away.
So this is a premier venue for anything that you need a stage. And do you have a sound system?
We have the sound system both inside and outside.
So
we
you
are
got-
fully covered. People don't have to worry about sound. They don't have to worry about lighting. All they just got to bring your instruments and let's jam.
I think that's an untapped resource for you.
For sure.
And you're not there on the weekends. When you say the weekends, you just mean Saturday and Sunday?
Right.
Or
I mean, we're cooking during the day, so the weekdays are a little bit tough for us, for sure. But events can start as early as Friday night and just continue through the weekends. So we're available on Sundays as well. So word is getting out, and we're getting booked more and more. So we encourage people, if you want to check out Bella Vita, come in, take a tour. Gina B is our banquet person, and she's our event planner, an expert one, and she'll walk you through the options for food and everything else you might need to have a great party for your family.
I love that. I love that. I'm so glad you brought that up because I never even thought in those terms about.
And the parking lot for 250 cars. And you can't beat that these days
No,
because
you
everyone's looking for parking.
cannot.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That I think that could really work out well for you. Yeah.
And
I'm
other
glad
thing-
that we could bring that up on air. Where
Yeah, absolutely. If
maybe the
people are
right
having
people have heard
If
this.
they're having an event, they go all different places, but check out Bella Vita because it's as beautiful as it was 5 years ago, and we keep it upgraded.
Oh, it is a
awfully well.
gorgeous place.
Nice.
So,
It really is.
Because there's
It's
so
beautiful.
few venues in this town that are
Right.
available for this. That's
yep,
awesome.
We're there, and we have the full kitchen, and we have our caterers and everything else, so there's no problem with meals is what we do. So meals are easy for us.
Oh, I look forward to Tuesday.
Just bring your company and a good attitude, and we'll throw a good party.
Awesome.
Yeah, the
Okay.
food is delicious. It really is. Because I go there to the grief group every Tuesday morning
Right.
and stay for lunch. And the meals are always good. I haven't had a bad meal there
Nope.
since
That's
I've
good.
been there. It's very good. And now yesterday I did have a complaint because when I got the food, it was cold.
Okay, I would have
And
sent
I
it right
s-
back. So
Oh, well, I did.
okay, all right.
I did. I said, please reheat this food.
Okay.
You know, and they did and brought it back, and
Very good.
it was nice and warm.
All right.
But no, those ladies there bring out massive containers full of plates of food and hand them to all the people. And most of those tables are completely full. And you're not supposed to have more. Was it more than 8 at a table?
Right.
And some of them have more than 8.
Okay. Well, they squish them in. They squish
Yes,
them in.
they do.
I'd
They
rather
squish 'em
I'd rather
in.
the family be hanging out together than not. So that's fine with us. So
All right. So, Kevin, most important takeaway for today's show.
we thank the community for their support, for our funding to continue, and come in and get a meal if you need a meal. Let people know we're homebound. We're there for you, and we can serve them. We have lots of resources coming up. A big resource fair on October 10th. The boutique coming up in September. Check out our website for all the information, and we just give thanks that we have this opportunity to serve seniors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one more time. Details on the boutique, please.
That is on Friday, September 6th from 9:30 to 1 in the courtyard of Bella Vita.
And just real quick, what is the boutique?
It's a Needle Crafters Club, and they're going to be providing all their needlecraft and selling their needlecraft. So
Oh,
the
that's
ladies are coming
awesome.
together to do that for us.
All right, so who do I ask, Kevin or Barb? What's the contact information for the senior center?
Well,
Go for it, Barbara.
all right, 661 259 9444.
And the website is myscvcoa.org.
Kevin McDonald, Senior Center, Bella Vita. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Senior Hour at KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Thomas Pilecki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest now is Scott Schauer, who is running for a position on the Board of Trustees for the Santa Clarita Community College District 2.
Area 2, yes.
District Area 2. And what does that consist of, Area 2?
There's 5 different areas in the city of Santa Clarita here, and they divided it up. There's 5 different seats running. And the map, the areas are not just square areas. For instance, mine is basically between McBean and the 5 going up north and then up to Copper Hill. And so my area is mainly Saugus and Valencia, but only portions of both of those.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's like gerrymandering, how the district is cut up.
Right.
Yeah,
For
okay.
instance, in my area, there's 15,000 houses and about 35,000 voters. And in each one of the areas, there's approximately that amount of houses.
Okay.
And so they did divide everything up into
Yeah.
districts after all.
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I think that was the most horrible thing, in my opinion.
So what exactly
happen.
does that mean, Scott? That means we're obviously talking about COC, right? College of the Canyons.
The College of the Canyons.
All right, so we're talking about College of the Canyons, and there are board seats up, right? There 3 or
There's actually 5 board
5,
seats.
5.
4 are going to be up for election.
I gotcha.
One of them is going to be appointed, which is unfortunate, but it's the way that it worked out. So one will be appointed, I think, pretty soon, and then the other 4 will be in the election in November.
Now,
Okay.
who's going to do the appointing?
There was 5 board members on the college trustee board. Chuck Lyon has resigned, so that's the open seat, and he resigned the way that it should have been resigned so that it will be on the ballot in November.
Mm-hmm.
The other seat, which was Joan McGregor's seat, she did not resign until a few days after it was too late to put it on the ballot. And I don't agree with that. I think that it's a community college. It should be voted on by the community, and not appointed by the 3 board members that are remaining.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll get. I hope we have time to get to a little bit more detail about all the stuff that's going on over there, and more importantly, why you're here today. But I'd like to. This is the first time we met, and I'd like to know a little bit about why you're running. You know, what's your background? Why you're running for the COC Board of Trustees? Because you're a businessman, yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I'm sure this is another plate to spin for you, but we'll get to that. So
A local businessman?
Yeah.
I own the Santa Clarita Soccer Center, and I've owned it for 30 years.
Really?
And I've owned businesses out in this valley since I was 18 years old, with the most recent being the soccer center.
So
Wow.
you've been here your whole life.
I graduated high school in 17 in the valley, and why COC? I attended COC when I was 17, and the reason I attended there is they were offering courses that Valley College and Pierce College weren't offering, so it was a good opportunity for me to go there. I went for the first 6 months, and they had an election for the student body government, and I was asked if I would run as a write-in candidate at College of the Canyons. Now, this was 49 years ago, and it was a much different school than it is today. But I ran as a write-in candidate with 15 other candidates, and I won that election. And that was my start with COC. It was a last-minute run, and 49 years later, today, although I own the soccer center, I am retired. I have my business partner from Las Vegas does the management here, and I have the time. And Now I'm making another last-minute run for the Board of Trustees, mainly to give back to the community that's been so good to me for so many years.
It's interesting. I went to sociology classes at Hart High School before COC was built.
Is that right?
Yes.
No?
That was a long, long time
It
ago.
was a different day back then when everybody knew everybody in this town. And before I
That's true.
went into the soccer business, I was in the food distribution business. And I sold most of the restaurants. College of the Canyons and CalArts were two of my accounts. When I was 20 years old, they were a couple of my accounts. And yes, the community's changed a lot. And the college has changed considerably.
So, well, I moved here in '68.
Okay, well, I was still in junior high school in '68. I moved here in '77. So I was right behind you, not too few years later, but and I've only lived in a couple houses. I lived in Agua Dulce for 20 years, and I live now in the Avignon community. I've been there for almost 30 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to ride my motorcycle with my kids up at the end of my street, which is now the end of my street is the 14 freeway. But it went up on a hill, and you were up there. They kept saying to me, "Come on, Mom, you can make it, you can make it."
Right,
And I
right.
finally did. I took that motorcycle up there. I went sideways and got all the way up to the top.
Okay, so I'm impressed. You have a restaurant business or a food service business when you're 20 years old?
Well, let me start over. When I was 17 and enrolled at College of the Canyons after I graduated high school,
What high school? Here?
I went in the Valley. I
Oh.
went to Granada Hills High School.
Oh, okay.
After I graduated, my parents moved to Dallas, Texas. My dad was hired on as the president of the largest fire sprinkler company in the world.
Wow.
An opportunity that's once in a lifetime. So they moved, and I was on my own at a young age.
Wow.
And so I went to work for a meat distributor, and he put me on commission doing sales. And when I was 18, he gave me a contract and said, "I don't want you to work for my competition. I want you to stay with me." So I wasn't ready to make that commitment. I was excited to get started in business. I remember I borrowed $10,000 from my dad at 20% interest. I'll never forget the 20% interest.
Nice, Dad.
I borrowed that. I borrowed that money from my father, and thank God for him. He's the one that got me started, and I paid it off in 6 months because of that exorbitant interest.
Yeah.
But, that's how I got started in the meat business, and mainly selling the same customers that I acquired when I worked for the other one. So mostly out here in the Santa Clarita, San Fernando Valley, schools, hospitals, Veterans Hospital was an account of mine, and I built the meat business, and after that I went into the produce business. It's all the same customers, just a different product. And when I sold the produce business, I decided I wanted to pursue my dream of stand-up comedy and acting. So 30 years ago, I joined the Screen Actors Guild and spent a couple years auditioning mostly.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity came up for the soccer center next to the bowling alley. And a
Nice.
friend of mine owned the bowling alley and had the acre next to it. I had the opportunity. Everybody thought I was a little crazy to put a soccer field in the middle of a parking lot. And thank God, 30 years later, there's been 50,000 people that have gone through there and had the opportunity to play in Santa Clarita.
Nice.
That's-
Nice. Okay,
that's
so
wonderful.
yeah. So obviously a smart sense of business from a very young age. How does that tie into what you want to do at COC?
Well, I think it ties in a lot of ways, and there's other things that I've done that have led me to this. I was on the Board of Trustees and Executive Director of the Michael Hoffman Foundation for Children's Cancer,
Right.
which we grew, and if you're familiar with it,
Yeah, of course.
back in the day when we were running it, one of the biggest events out here in Santa Clarita was that
Oh, yeah.
gala that we did every year that
Oh,
we raised
yes.
a lot of money. And it was with volunteers and the support, and the community is who supported that. But I've also been on the board of the College of the Canyon Foundation Board. There's a number of boards I've been on. Right now, I'm the president of the SCV Sheriff's Foundation, which
Nice.
I think is what they're due for this community. I don't know if you know or you don't, but it was just announced that Santa Clarita is the 8th safest city in the country.
Yes, it was in the
And-
signal.
And when you bring back College of the Canyons, Justin Diaz is the captain over
Yeah.
there that runs it,
Yes.
who's a wonderful guy
Yeah.
and runs a wonderful department. He trained at College of the Canyons when he first got on the force, and now he's the captain running the city. And I hear these stories. The more people I talk to, I just talked to somebody that is being very supportive of my campaign, and he told me he took a welding class at COC. And another class that you might not be able to get at some of the other campuses.
Yeah.
He took the welding class, he got into the union building movie sets, and today he's 50% owner of LA North Studios, which is probably the fastest growing studios out here.
Yeah.
So I hear these stories all the time, people who got their start at COC and then went on to be successful in other areas.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so I understand why it's important to you. I can't ignore what I've been hearing about the turnover, the shift, and whatever, because there's no information about what's really going on there, except there are some very big changes happening at COC. Can you get into that at all?
I can get into it to let you know what I know, which is probably the same as amount of what you know.
Right.
And the unfortunate thing is there has been no transparency on what's going on.
Right.
It's in my opinion, that's wrong.
Well,
And
You know,
and there is a
this-
Brown Act, and there is rules, and there is what's legal and what's not legal that you can say. But I think the transition, when you say, you heard about the last 3 that have retired, which are 3 of the top positions at the college in administration, I think the worst part about that whole thing is the process of how it happened.
yeah.
All 3 of them had a wealth of information that if I was running a business, I would want the transition to go to the next people that step into
Yes.
those seats.
Yes.
It's really unfortunate that one day they were voted out, the next day they're packing up, they're out, and there's not that transition.
Yeah.
I know I've had a business, the soccer center right now employs about 55 employees. And I have a few managers, and if I don't have good transition with my managers to run a small business, my business is very small. The college is a big business doing
Yes.
with $140 million a year budget. It needs good leadership.
Absolutely
And being
does.
fiscally responsible. But I'm just very disappointed in the process and the lack of transparency. And I understand there are many things for legal reasons that can't be said, but there is much that can be said.
That can be said.
And what can be said legally should be said, so the
Absolutely.
community knows. It's a community college voted on by the community, and everybody's in the dark, and what that causes is rumors on why.
Yeah.
I've heard 20 different reasons why. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I also be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed that they made the appointment for the interim chancellor / president on a Tuesday. In 72 hours, the appointment was made
Yeah.
with no discussion. And
See, that's
to
wrong.
find, I believe College of the Canyons is a gem of our valley.
Absolutely.
And the leader is very important who the leader is. Regardless of why she's not there anymore, she developed great relationships with the community.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you aren't kidding.
She was a tremendous growth factor in that college.
There's so much local businesses. I just did a tour this week at the ATC you mentioned before, and it's just amazing the equipment and what they have there and the ability. And it's these kind of things that we need to partner with businesses to train the students, so when they get out of the school, they have a place to go to work.
Absolutely. And they
Quest-
are well trained to do that work.
And we need
that's
to
critical.
And we as a college and a community need to fulfill the needs of what the businesses need. For instance,
Absolutely.
Quest Diagnostics
Yeah.
is local, and it's a big laboratory, and they have a big need for clinical laboratory technicians. So now there's a program at COC where they're training them. Doesn't mean they're going to get a job at Quest, but they're providing that. Same thing with everything at the ATC and all the training they're doing, the robotics and the engineering, and it's just amazing everything they're doing there.
So
and we need to continue that.
is that part of the workforce development program?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
so-
that needs to continue to grow. And, you know, you mentioned how do you do that? I think when I ran the Michael Hoffman Foundation, when I'm running the president of the Sheriff's Foundation now, when I do that, I get out in the community and I meet people.
Yes.
There are four trustees left, actually 3 trustees left. There were 5. And other than Chuck Line, I have never met to this day, I've never met one of the trustees. And I go to all the community events and I support a lot of the nonprofits out here. Never once have I met or seen them there. And I think that's a big part of being a trustee,
Yeah.
being a representative for the college out in the
Yeah,
community.
being out in the community, going to these different groups and things that are happening around. That's important.
Absolutely. And as
really
when I
is.
ran the nonprofits, you know, right now I'm trying to raise money for this campaign, and it costs a lot of money to run a campaign.
Yeah.
When I'm running the
Always.
Michael Hoffman Foundation and you ask somebody to help support a great cause like children's cancer, that's an easy ask.
Right.
Now I'm asking, hey, support me so we can turn around what's going on at the college. Not the same cause, it's not like what the Michael Hoffman Foundation does, but I think all these charities are good, and I have no problem going out there and asking.
Yeah, it's critical. And this is a very tumultuous time in everything. The way that our nation is now in almost an identical situation as the college, and we're just expected to all say, "Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good." I'm like, "No, it's
Everything
not good.
will work out.
It's,
Everything
it's,
will work out.
No,
it's
Just
not
take time.
good."
It takes leadership, and it takes leadership that's not going after a special interest group.
Right.
I'm not raising money to support any special interest group. This is a nonpartisan campaign. I am not running. I'm listed as a Republican. I'm not going to always agree with both sides, but I think there's no room for politics at the college, and I think
No,
politics
I
are now
agree
getting into the
completely.
college.
Yeah.
Same thing as we were just talking about the sheriff's department. Safety is so important, and safety at the college is too,
Absolutely.
and we need to support them that way.
Yeah, those things need to be addressed. We will have a few minutes after the break. I'd like to come back and talk about that because it's critically important. If you're going to send your kids somewhere for 4 years, you know, safety has got to be one of the top priorities.
Safety and accessibility, so
Yeah.
whoever wants to go there can, and we will, I look
Yeah.
forward to talking after the break about
Okay.
that.
We'll be right back. You've been listening to the Senior Hour, KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220, hometownstation.com.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Thomas Pilecki, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with Scott Schauer, who is running for a spot on the Board of Directors for the Santa Clarita Community College District Area 2. Okay, now, what kind of responsibility will you have as a trustee if you are voted on?
That's a great question, and I think let's start with the most important responsibility of whoever is elected come November. The biggest responsibility, as we just talked about the administration that was let go, it is the Board of Trustees' job to hire and fire the lead person at the college. And that hiring is so important in the future for the growth of the college. I am so hopeful that the way the interim was put in place is not the way. There needs to be a nationwide search. It needs to be the best person. I don't know the current one. He may be the best person for the job, and if he is, then he's the one that needs to be there.
Right.
But I think there needs to be a very transparent, as we're talking about transparency, how are we going to select them? How are we going to get out to the community? What is the process of how that's going to be done? The board has a process the way it's supposed to be done. I just hope they adhere to it. But as you asked me, what is a responsibility? The biggest responsibility is going to be to bring in new leadership to run that college.
Yes, at this point, yes, because you lost a great leader.
We lost a great leader, and because of that leader, the growth of that college has been amazing, as you've witnessed since you've been here even longer than me. But
Yes,
35
absolutely.
years ago, the school went from 137 faculty to a staff today of over 555. There were 430 class sections back then. Today there's 1,835.
Wow.
All these are growth. 44 certificate programs back 35 years ago. Today's 286. You've seen the campus grow. They went from 200,000 square feet 35 years ago, and even less when I went there or when you moved here. But today there's over 1 million square feet. Parking was a big issue at the college. They had 1,200 parking spots. Now they have 4,500 parking spots. And I think the biggest thing is, 35 years ago they had an $8 million a year budget, and today they have a $140 million a year budget. And we need that budget to be managed by a group of business leaders that have the interest of the community at heart and not any one special interest group.
That's right, and the interest of the college.
Absolutely.
And the way the college is set up and how it responds to the community. That's what they need to do, because that's critical.
And we all need to work
Really
together to advance everybody, the administration, the faculty, the staff, the facilities. But I think most important, and why I'm running, is for the students. And we need to make sure that the students come first before everything.
That's right. Well, there's a big difference now from going to a classroom at Hart High School to take a sociology course through
Okay,
COC
so
than it is now.
Scott, my most important question to you, and we don't have a lot of time for you to answer this fully, but how can people help you get this job done?
There's many ways to help. I'm starting with a kickoff tomorrow night. We're going to have a kickoff. We're already over full, which I'm excited that we're having a good group show up, but I'm going to start with that kickoff. The biggest thing is I have to start by raising funds. So I will raise the funds I need, and there's a lot of other things it can do. You could have a get-together with your neighborhood. There's yard signs. You could help post. I need volunteers. We need to do this as a group, and everything I've ever done or built, I don't take credit for any of it. I led it, but it's the group of volunteers that make it happen.
So where are you having this initial group?
Tomorrow night it's going to be a private closed session, so I prefer not to say
Oh,
that because I
okay.
want to make sure that
That's
that
okay.
there's room for everybody that was invited.
Scott Schauer, thank you so much. You have
Yes.
our support. You've been listening to the Senior Hour, KHTS FM 98.1, AM 1220, hometownstation.com. Now go out and enhance your quality of life. We're brought to you by Providence Holy Cross and Comfort Keepers Inn.